Hi, my name is Krista. I am a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach, and we've been talking about the strengths themes individually. And today we're talking about the strengths theme of analytical. Now, analytical is in the strategic thinking domain, which is the domain of intelligence. They really care deeply about getting things right. Analytical wants to gather data, and they want to know all the information possible before they make a decision, because they want their decisions to be informed and accurate. Analytical is always asking why. They have to establish the why before they move forward. Now, sometimes there are themes that like to establish the why as they go, but not analytical. Before they can move forward, they have to establish the why because they don't want their efforts, their time, their energy, or anything else to be wasted on something that isn't going to function as it should. Analytical has a real talent for deconstructing things and discovering the basic elements so they can mentally examine them. And it can be anything. It could be programs or plans or ideas or processes, basically anything that can be broken down into the simplest, smallest component for them to mentally examine. And the logic to it is if they can examine every part and all the parts are working as they should, then the whole should be working as it should. But conversely, if there is something that's defective, if there's a part that's defective, then it can make the whole thing defective. So if you're an analytical person, please be careful with this because you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If there is something that isn't working as it should, you could take your talents and really make it so much better for the idea, for the program, for the processes, whatever it is. Just don't throw the whole thing out necessarily. Just try to examine which parts are broken and see if you can fix it or gather other people around you to help you fix the problem. If you're stating something to an analytical person, you must be accurate because everything you say is going to be evaluated. They have a really strong gut sense to discern data, and they'll instinctually know if something doesn't make sense. It's like they have a built-in BS sensor. This theme is usually very pragmatic and logical and highly structured in their thinking processes. And often they have a dispassionate approach, which can be a little off-putting to other themes that are more passionate and more verbal in the way that they respond to things. You might actually think that they don't care because they're not responding emotionally like you might be. But take heart. If they're asking questions, that means that they do actually care. And even though they're not highly emotional and responding the way you might be responding, they can still feel things very, very deeply. A word of advice: if you want to convince an analytical person of something, you have to bring them trustworthy information. And I highly caution you not to try to sway them with your emotional pleas. That can be very frustrating to them, and they can also view that as some kind of manipulation. And if you have analytical tendencies, try looking at emotions as another data point. Especially when you're evaluating and making important decisions, you can deconstruct that and ask yourself, why might somebody be responding in that particular way? Because how people respond can really impact the culture of your home, your work, and your friendships. How your decisions impact others should definitely be an important data point. This theme is usually very good in environments where a detailed and investigative approach is valued and celebrated. You can think like judges or engineers or pilots or people that work in finance. And listen, if I'm getting on an airplane, I want to be sure, or at least fairly reasonably sure, that an analytical person helped sign off on how that plane was put together. You want to be sure that someone that is working with your finances pays attention to detail. I mean, those are very, very important things, and what a special talent to have. So listen, if you want to move forward and make better decisions in your life, an analytical person would be a really great person to turn to. They have an amazing ability to provide a realistic assessment of situations that's based on logic and accuracy and data integrity. I hope if you're an analytical person that you see the value that you bring to the table. And as others are listening to this, I hope that you also see the value that those analytical friends of yours bring to the table. I hope you appreciate your gifts, because I certainly appreciate analytical gifts. Sometimes my emotion gets the better of me, and I can turn to my analytical friends to help me assess exactly the things and the details that I need. Now remember, as we discussed these, that these are all on their own strengths themes, but there are no two analytical people alike, because all our strengths blend and flavor one another to make very, very unique individuals. While you might be an analytical person that really loves attention to detail and very pragmatic in your approach, other analytical people might be slightly different depending on what their themes are as well. So no one is put in a box. Everyone is unique and beautiful in their own way. And I hope you've enjoyed this informational talk about analytical. Now go and connect well today.